Well, good afternoon, Glue Troopers. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Apologies for this morning's two short little videos. I was actually in the process of getting the morning video made. I had an appointment and I just lost track of time. So I decided just to go ahead and knock those two little quick videos out because I want to get those points out real quick. And I figured, you know what? I'll just make a somewhat more in-depth video this evening, which is what I'm working on now. So here we go. First thing, today is, I believe, the 74th anniversary of Chuck Yeager's breaking the sound barrier in level flight. So kudos to the guys at old Muroc / Edwards for that accomplishment on its anniversary. And I got one of the Glue Troopers commenting that maybe we should talk about kit model X-planes. And I think that would be a great subject to talk about in some detail on the live stream. But a thought popped in my head after they made that observation. The two most popular X-planes are probably the X3 Stiletto, which I'm posing with here, and the X15, and to a lesser extent perhaps the X1. But I realized that the X3 is not really a very successful X-plane, but it looked good, and virtually every company made a model of it. In fact, I had a kit model that I had kit bashed sort of into a sort of fighter plane variant in U.S. Air Force markings. And a long time ago, something happened to that kit. I don't remember what. But I also have this big wooden model that I'm posing with here. And I was thinking, for an airplane that really wasn't particularly much of an accomplishment in aviation, it sure is a frequently photographed and modeled airplane. And of course, that's just because it looks cool. Even though aerodynamically speaking, had it really gone fast, that tiny tail would have been catastrophic. But I'll get into that in the live stream because you start getting into advanced aerodynamics. But it does look cool. You could park this thing on the set of Star Wars and it would look like it belonged there. I even have the box art from the one that I had built years ago up on the wall on the Tarbus. And I was thinking, that is definitely an overrepresented airplane given its accomplishments. Of course, the X1 and X15 are both very much trendsetters. I have this X1E on the shelf that I need to get started on, and I really love X-planes. I built a model of the X5 when I was a kid. It was a gift from my brother, and I always thought of it as the swing wing F-86. So anyway, we'll be talking about those in more detail later on, but in honor of the anniversary of the break of the sound barrier, I thought X-planes would make a great subject. Also, I had one of the Glue Troopers send me an email. He's working on a kit from Rodin that he's having a lot of trouble with. And I didn't know if you guys had any experience with Rodin kits, what you thought of them. But normally I try to stay very positive on this channel. But apparently he didn't have too many kind things to say. And I thought maybe I would put it out to you guys if what your experience with the Rodin kits has been. And we may talk about that later as he sends me more details. A big shout out to Larry who did this magnificent B25 for the group build because it made the fine scale modeler gallery online. So way to go, Larry. It was a beautiful build and I'm sure you guys all remember it from the group build. Well done, sir. One request that was made, if there was some place I could post the anticipated dates for the different group builds. So I'm going to start putting that in the comments section of these videos so it'll be easy for you guys to keep track. That way, I would use Facebook normally, but I've been having a lot of issues with Facebook and it's kind of hard for me to find the stuff that I post myself. So I figure it's probably just easier to put it here and you can check the comment section. And if anybody wants, I can just let me know. I'll just email it to you. So I'm making a little headway on the V2. Got one of the fins painted black. I actually just went ahead and freehanded this. I was feeling particularly sussy today, and it worked out pretty good. So the rest of it I'm going to mask off, though. Yeah, painting one fin's pretty easy, but I can't draw a straight line. There's no reason to think I can paint one. But I did make a lot of progress on the Corporal Missile and launcher. I'm going to tell you right now, I'll do a more in-depth description of it probably on the live stream, but I will tell you right now that most of the components do move, so I was putting a little bit of glue in places I wasn't supposed to, and I also had some issues with some glue intrusion that I had to go in with thinner and remove so that I could get the parts to slide the way they were supposed to. But I did get it painted for pretty much it's mostly done. Still got to decal it, some touch-up work, but it's all together. Right now I've got it out in the Tarbis just hardening. And, I just couldn't resist doing this just to see. I know they're off scale, but what the heck, it's all in fun. Anyway, consider it, as one guy said, a transformer missile launcher. But the Corporal Missile is a very detailed kit in some ways and not in others. The erector, the launch pad, the vehicle are extremely detailed. A lot of parts. They really, it does look good when it's done, and you can pose it in different positions. It doesn't move like the Revell kit. You have to basically kind of part because of the sprockets, unless you can find a way to make the sprockets rotate, which I certainly wasn't able to do. Then you're going to have to basically remove the part and reposition it. If there is a way to put some Vaseline or something or oil in there to get those sprockets to rotate, I suppose you could do it, but I'm not sure if the pins would stay in place. That aside, though, I don't really think the intent was for people to be moving it. Pretty much, I think the idea was be able to just position it one way or the other. But if you don't put the glue where you're not supposed to put the glue, you do have the option of very delicately setting up to be towed, or setting it up to be launched, or setting it up on the erector, however you want to do it. It's pretty posable, including the rocket base where the arms will fold up. One thing I haven't been able to figure out is there's supposed to be 2 tires for the launch pad, and I couldn't find them anywhere. I didn't see them in the box. I don't know if they didn't make it in the kit. I don't recall ever seeing them. I don't know if they were plastic or rubber. The wheels were there and the shafts were there, so I've got them on the launch pad. But I figured, well, that's not a big deal. I mean, if it was a more permanent, maybe the jhis pulled the wheels off, or maybe they pulled, it's a removable on the actual launch pad, so there's no reason that it wouldn't, it's not like it's going to cost me any accuracy. It's not a big deal. It's just sort of a head scratcher, but go figure. Apparently one of the other rocket units was playing a joke on them and came and stole their tires. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Most likely I'll just pose it without the wheels on it at all. But it is definitely a tricky build. There are a lot of very similar looking parts that are different. Sometimes the numbers are hard to read. The good thing is that on some of the pieces where things made are labeled by number. Not everywhere, but in some of the more confusing places. But the instruction sheet could use some improvement. That aside, though, for advanced model builder, it's not going to be a problem. Everything fit pretty well. A little bit of flash here and there, usual stuff you expect. But anyway, should finish it up tomorrow. In other news, I'm hoping that Atlantis makes good on getting those Keeler's Customs marketed. I think I'd like to pick one of those up. After all, Jim is a world-class model builder, and he's sort of in the vein of, Tom Daniel. And those two guys, ironically, only live about an hour apart from each other out in Utah. So I get a Keeler Custom to go next to some of my Tom Daniel models. Well, guys, that's what I've got for tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of this in more detail later. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.